Hey everybody, today we're going to be looking at subtracting integers with models. Subtracting integers represents taking away something that is present. So we have positive counters, which we are usually using yellow for that. And then we have negative counters, and usually what you're going to see is we're going to have red for the negatives. So anything that's negative, you're going to think, well, I'm just going to go ahead and color that red, and my positives are going to be yellow. Okay? All right. Take away the necessary counters in order to model the number below. It says to model 6. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then it says to subtract 4. So they just subtracted out these 4, and we end up with 2. Basically, that's just what you guys have always done. You are going to see things a little bit differently later. Let's look at number 1. Now, in this problem, we have a negative 4, and we're subtracting negative 2. So basically, you're going to start with your negative counters. You have 4 of them. But then it says we're going to subtract out 2 of them. So that ends up giving us a total of negative 2. Whenever I see the minus the negative 2, I think minus the minus. It's not a minus anymore. It's not a subtraction problem anymore. It's really an addition problem. So it really looks like this. Negative 4 minus the negative 2. You're going to hear some other teachers say, add a line, change the sign. So that's really going to be negative 4 plus 2, which gives you the negative 2. That's add a line, change the sign. Look at number 2. Negative 6, and you're subtracting minus 3. Okay, so I've got my 6 here, but then I subtract out the 3. So I get rid of those, and I end up with a negative 3 as my answer. Now again, you can look at it like this. Negative 6 minus the negative or minus the 3. So what I'm looking at is negative 6 plus 3. Add a line, change the sign, and that equals negative 3. Number 3. 6 minus negative 2. So the first thing you have is the 6. But then we're going to subtract out the second number, which is the 2. Now remember, you put in your 0 pairs here, so that gave you 2 positives. So you ended up with a total of 8. Remember, it's kind of like this. 6, and you're subtracting out this negative 2. Add a line, change the sign. So it's really 6 plus the 2, which equals 8. Let's look at our next page. In this page, it says model the first number. We have 5 minus the negative 2. So they put their 5 in here, and then we had to add our 0 pairs here. So what they did was they just subtracted those out. It left all of your positives, and you ended up with this 7. Remember, add a line, change the sign. So this is really 5 plus the 2, which equals 7. 7 minus the negative 3. So I have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I had to add in my negative 3 0 pairs, but then we got rid of the 3 because it said minus or subtract the negative 3. So we end up with 10 total. Okay, so that looks like this. 7 minus the negative 3. Add a line, change the sign. 7 plus 3, and that equals 10. Okay, look at number 6. It says negative 4 minus the negative 1. Now, we have the negative 4, but then I'm going to subtract out or minus the negative 1. So that leaves you with a negative 3. It's like you added 1 in. So remember, add a line, change the sign. So it's negative 4 minus the negative 1. So this is like this. Negative 4 plus 1 equals negative 3. That's how you're going to work those. Now look at your number lines at the bottom. It says Now try modeling the following problems with a number line. Begin your model at 0. 1 minus 4. So I go forward to the 1 here, but then I have to go backwards 4, and that ends up giving me a negative 3. Now I go backwards 1, but then I go backwards 4 more, and I end up at negative 5. So this is really kind of like saying minus 1, but then I'm adding in the minus 4, and that's how you get the negative 5 there. All right, let's look at number 9. It says negative 1 minus the negative 4. So again, I'm subtracting out the negative 4, so that means I'm really adding 4 to it. So I'm going to go backwards 1, but then I'm going to add 4 to that, and I end up at 3 here. Okay, 3 minus 5. So it's really 3 plus the negative 5. So I go forward to the 3. Okay, and then I have the negative 5, and I end up with negative 2. Now I have 3, so I go forward 3. And then I'm going to go forward another 5 because I'm subtracting out that negative 5, so that makes it a positive. Remember, add a line, change the sign. So that's really the 3 minus the negative 5 is really 3 plus the 5, which equals 8. Negative 3, so I go negative 3, but then really I'm adding in that 5, and so I end up with 2. Okay, guys, you did a great job staying with me. I hope this helps. Thanks.